Scotty, beam me up.
Smash.
Get over here. It is pointless to resist.
It's Leo, the new kid. He's the fastest draw in town.
I'm looking for some breakfast.
Seen any? Appropriate location, partner.
Hey, gracias, mi amigo.
Masterpieces. They must be priceless.
No, they're not. You get them when you buy a Burger King Kids Club meal. You get 6 Crayola crayons and a Kids Club coloring book.
Well, it's lovely art.
Thanks, but my name's not Art.
Airheads, they're out of control.
Alrighty, welcome to the Geek Den. We got Dalton Deschain here with us from Dalton Deschain and the Traveling Show. Very
Hello,
interesting
everybody.
stuff you got there, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
And so I gotta ask, what brought the band together?
Ooh, that's a great question. It's really our whole thing has really been driven by a nightmare I had in college. And that was sort of the kernel of the entire project was I went to school for music composition. And so I was spending a lot of time writing a lot of classical stuff, because that's sort of what my degree was. And I didn't really have time to have a band, which was really where my passion lies, is punk rock and, rock and roll in general. I had always wanted to write a concept album. I am a big David Bowie fan. David Bowie is like sort of my music idol. And so, I've loved him since I was a kid, and so, I wanted to, so I grew up listening to like Ziggy Stardust and Diamond Dogs and, all that kind of stuff. And so I really wanted to write a concept album, but I never thought I would have an idea good enough to sustain a whole album, Oh, I was also a huge Coheed and Cambria fan.
That's
sort of
you're talking to me right there, buddy.
the kings of concept albums.
Yes.
So I just always wanted to do something like that. I really like the idea of being able to focus my songwriting, because at the time when I was in college, like I was just writing whatever, none of it was coherent or like stuck to a certain style or anything. And I was like, man, if I just had like one good idea, I could kind of focus everything around that and, be a bit more direct in my songwriting. And then it was like my sophomore year, and I woke up from this nightmare where I had been driving through hell with these demons who were pretending to be my parents, and I killed someone outside of a bar with a billiard ball, and the cops were after me. Like just this very insane, detailed dream. And I woke up and I was like, that was cool. So I wrote it all down. And sort of came up with a story from that. And I was like, this is it. This is my concept album, Yeah. And at the time, I didn't really have a place for it, So I was, Sorry to interrupt. I'm turning on Do Not Disturb because I'm
Oh,
getting
yeah.
apologies.
Good, man. You're good.
At the time, I didn't really have time to have a band or anything like that. And so I just sort of outlined the thing, and I had like an outline for a 12-song album and what the story would be. And I started like, when I was bored in class, I would like come up with melodies and lyrics in my head and would just sort of jot them down and stuff. But I didn't have the space for it, so I just kind of sat on it, for a while. And I'm glad I did, because I also wasn't a good enough songwriter to pull it off at the time. And after college, I moved here to New York City and was sort of like, at this point, struggling to find a new sort of musical identity and what I wanted to do. And I didn't have a band here either, because I didn't really know anybody. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start sort of writing the thing. And I started out, so we have an EP, our first EP that came out in 2014 is called The Collateral Vignettes. And basically that's a bunch of sort of side stories around the concept album. And I was like, I'm going to do all these sort of like short stories that are tied to it, make an EP by myself, and sort of use that to maybe find some band members, start performing those songs around on my own. And that's how it kind of came together. From there, a friend on the scene, Michael Kennedy, like approached me after a show and was like, hey, I want to play bass for you. I started meeting some drummers. I started dating a singer here, and that all just kind of came together to become the band. So that was, at first it was myself and Michael Kennedy on bass, Phil Harris on drums, and Joe Kroger, who was my girlfriend, on additional vocals and keyboards. And the lineup sort of changed, but it was all just sort of in service of trying to tell this story. But then, of course, along the way, the story got bigger and bigger and bigger from what it was in college. And so now it's probably going to be a trilogy, I think, is the plan. Is the sort of this album that we just released is sort of the first part of like a 3-part idea right now.
Right on. And Demons and Dogmen is the name of the album, and it's pretty fucking good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been in the works a long time.
Yeah, and you can tell, like, you put everything you had into it. It shows. Definitely shows.
I appreciate
it. Like I was telling you before, Freak Show is a song that grabbed me, and that it doesn't get old. That song in particular, like I can just listen to it on a loop probably.
Thank you. And that's
saying something.
Well, it's saying something, especially for a 5+ minute song. You know, it's not a typical single because it's pretty long. And so to hear that you can play that on repeat when it's so long is definitely a compliment.
I've started my drive with it the past couple days.
Nice.
Because it's just such it takes a second to get going, but once it does, it stays there and it keeps you in. Yeah. It's like a good roller coaster ride.
Yeah, I try to give all of our songs an arc, because that's what interests me about music. I don't want any. I tend to not be interested in songs that start at one level and kind of stay there the whole time. Yeah. Because they turn into background noise for me, and I get that a lot of people like that from music. They want something they can just kind of put on the background and vibe. But I kind of want to grab the listener by the ear and just kind of hold on to them. And so I feel like some dynamic fluctuation is good for that.
Now I love that more straightforward stuff, but like when you can grab somebody with just the build up at the beginning of the song, that's something special there. Not a lot of bands can do that.
Yeah.
No. and like it was just a clip of the song Freak Show that grabbed me, and then I heard the whole thing and I was like, this is actually kind of really fucking good. Like I just kept listening to it. I was like, okay, cool, yeah. And like the lyrical content of it is like, that's some real shit you're singing about there.
Yeah, that one meant a lot to me to be writing that. That one is about. I'm very, very lucky to have a number of trans people in my life, from family members to best friends. Our bass player Daisy, or Day Clancy as she goes by in the band, who did the music video. And I just sort of there's a character in the novel and in the story of the album who is a bearded lady in the Freak Show, and which is also something that's sort of used as a sort of derogatory framework. People, transphobic people, calling trans people freaks and things like that. And so it's just sort of, I didn't want to overstep and tell a story that wasn't mine, but sort of tap into that universality of like, look, the world thinks I'm, a freak, but I'm not. That's their fault. That's their fault. And I'm just going to be the person I am and fuck everyone else,
Exactly. There was a show on, I want to say it was on TLC years ago. Oddly enough, it was called Freak Show. It was about the Venice Beach Freak Show.
Oh, wow.
And they were very adamant about killing normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird to not be weird. Like, they were huge for that.
Yeah.
And they had a big campaign, normal is dead, that kind of thing. And to embrace being a freak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A freak.
I did a lot of research for the story on freak shows of old, because I haven't talked much about the story, but it takes place in the 1940s. And so I did a lot of research on old freak shows, and it's kind of this weird paradox where like, it is a dated idea because it was like putting people oftentimes with disabilities or abnormalities like on stage for people to gawk at, which is very exploitative. But at the same time, these are people who at the time had zero options in life, and a lot of them, this was like the only sort of road that gave them any amount of like dignity or respect. And like sort of, for as much as they were oftentimes mistreated or things like that, a lot of them took pride in it because it was like, these people are here to see me, like I'm the star here. Yeah. And that would be an opportunity that wasn't afforded them anywhere else at the time.
It was really the only way they could make a living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
The ones that got paid.
Yeah. Yeah.
We know not all of them got paid, which is complete and total horse shit.
Right.
But because, you're putting people out there to perform, you need to pay them for doing a job.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there were definitely promoters, especially for, actually in the story, one of the freaks is, a little, mentally challenged, and those were the ones that were easy to take advantage of by promoters and, ringleaders and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And like that brings, like, we kind of got to get into it in the next segment because that movie Freaks just came to mind.
Yeah, the Todd Browning one from the 30s.
Oh
yeah.
Great movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like that because if you watch that movie, you see a lot of them had physical disabilities and they were being taken advantage of. But then again, some of them weren't. They were actually being cared for by the promoters.
Yeah.
And they were part of the family, but they were performing because they enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But they were well taken care of, and that's the story that doesn't get told a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I think that movie is sort of emblematic of, it does a really good job of sort of walking that line that we're just talking about, where like the movie itself is using these freaks as horrors, right? Like it's considered a horror movie because it's scary to see these, freaks acting aggressively and stuff. But at the same time, it does give them an arc filled with humanity, and there's like a nice love story at the center of it, and Todd Browning definitely seems to have a lot of respect and love for these people, while also sort of exploiting their physical attributes for horror, and it's that movie really in a lot of ways is sort of the emblem of freak shows of the time.
Yep. Oh, for sure. And the fact that it was filmed in the 30s helped with that, like 100%, because they were straight lifted from their jobs to make this movie and then put it right back on the circuit.
Oh yeah.
But like, to me, the movie does what the song Freak Show does, and it tells you that the only monsters there are the people watching.
Yeah.
And, like, the people who find those people to be different or anything like that.
Yeah, the true villains of Freaks are the other circus performers who are, mean and evil to them,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We actually on our second EP, which was called Roberta, and originally had Freak Show on it in an earlier kind of version. There was an instrumental piece on that EP that used sampled dialogue from that movie.
Oh, nice.
Throughout it, because I'm such a fan.
Yeah.
It is a great movie. If you've never seen it, definitely check that movie out.
Yeah.
If you can find it.
It's hard to find.
Yeah.
I found it on Amazon.
I really want a
$11.
nice. I'm really trying to build up my. I mean, we can probably get into this in the next section, but I'm trying to build up my horror Blu-ray collection. I'm trying to get a nice selection of 4K horror classics, and I searched for one for Freaks, and it just doesn't seem to exist.
Yeah, I've been looking for a Blu-ray of that myself.
Yeah.
But I found it on DVD. So
Yeah.
I have that.
Someday.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I watch it whenever I can, which is
I mean, it's gotta be.
I gotta be in a kind of mood for it.
Yeah. You think Shout Factory or someone would get on that, you know?
Yeah, you would think so. Especially, like you said, Shout Factory or someone would jump on it.
Yeah.
We know you're watching Shout Factory.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like I was saying, the music, like it has that theatrical element. What were some of your inspirations for that? Was it the classical background that you do have, or like was it besides David Bowie, of course?
I think Bowie was sort of the kernel of it, as well as liking a lot of sort of punk rock musicals like Hedwig and the Angry Inch, Rocky Horror Picture Show, things like that. I'm trying to remember who really was the kernel for trying to do the story, because also Tom Waits, I would say. Tom Waits did a lot of theatrical stuff with his stage shows. Yeah, big influence. And then also the World Inferno Friendship Society was a big influence on me through high school and college. And they never, they did a concept album about the life of Peter Lorre that they did as sort of a stage show. And I think those were a lot of the elements, as well as just being kind of a theater nerd. You know, I did theater in college as well, and high school and stuff. And I like that sort of, I like giving something extra in a live show. You know, I like with a balance, right? My goal has always been that our stage show, first and foremost, should just be a really fucking good time. And like, especially when you're starting out, you don't know what kind of bills you're getting put on, you know, like and so, you know, we might be going after like a hardcore punk band or whatever, and the audience isn't here to see a musical, you know, so we don't want to be like too theatrical and be like, you know, doing like a whole bunch of elaborate staging and stuff, and like taking time between the songs when they're here to see a rock show. So like it needs to be just a fun rock show first and foremost, but I think there's ways to, and it actually took a few years to kind of find it. And what we ended up doing is finding a way where I would write instrumental pieces that connected every song in the set. So there was never a break in the music. There was never a slowdown of momentum. It would be a song into an instrumental that we would do some light sort of storytelling over, and then it would go into the next song, and then that kind of thing.
Kind
and
of
same
like
thing with
like a rock opera.
Yeah. Trying to keep in that vein, but you know, and the songs too, like the songs tell a story, but I didn't want to get too in the weeds with you know, like I love Coheed and Cambria. Coheed and Cambria is like one of my top favorite bands.
Yeah, mine too.
Lyrically, they can get a little in the weeds on the sci-fi stuff, where it's like, okay, this song is about something that I need to read a comic book to know really what they're talking about. And it's awesome, but it's not necessarily emotionally resonating with me because I don't really know what's going on. And so I think that's the reason I started writing books to go along with our albums, because for the songs, I really want to keep it to the emotional beats. You know, I really want to keep it to, yes, on the surface, this song is about a freak at the circus who lives with the lions and, you know, is getting in a fight. But really it's about, you know, if you're the casual listener, it's about, you know, just sort of being true to yourself, you know, like that kind of universal theme. And I try to do that with every song, where it's like, not just necessarily and not trying to like tell you the plot necessarily, as much as just sort of capture snapshots of emotions. and also musically keeping it to sound like a good rock and roll song. That it's not like, you know, it's not sounding like a musical theater piece. It sounds like a punk rock song that you're gonna like, you know. And so it's a tricky line to walk sometimes. But
it really is. That's definitely a fine line to find the perfect balance between something you can just put on your normal everyday playlist.
Yeah.
Or, you know, something that has to have a playlist all of its own. Like for me, I have to separate Coheed and Cambria from pretty much anything else I listen to because it doesn't mix. Like, it's great stuff. I love it. Like you said, they're one of my favorite bands, but I have to have my own like Coheed playlist.
Yeah.
And, like all my favorite songs of theirs there because that's the only place it really fits. But yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. Like, because I was saying there, Freak Show is on my playlist now. Like, it's just,
glad to hear it.
Added with everything else because it fits so well. But like you're saying, it has that story element to it, where you can listen to the album and get the story, or you can just listen to the songs individually if that's your thing.
Yeah.
And I like both.
We're really trying to kind of set a trap for you, which is like, you know, where, oh look, it's just a fun little punk song. You like this, right? It's just and then you start listening, it's like, oh, there's something more here. And it's like, yes, there's something more here. Come deeper.
And you hear the other stuff and it's like, oh, okay. So that bridge is, that first song connects with that last song somehow, but I'm not sure. What? Let me listen to that again. That's how you get listens, my man.
You leave that trail of breadcrumbs going to the candy house.
Absolutely. Then you throw them in the fucking furnace and cook
exactly.
them. Yeah. Oh man, what time? How long have we been going here? All right. Why don't we take a quick little break, and then when we come back, we'll get into some movies and TV shows and stuff.
Yep.
All right. We'll be right back.
Attention! Your gym teacher escaped from charm school, irons his underwear, watches hygiene films. He says,
anyone chewing bubble tape owes me 50 push-ups.
The lunch lady wears a hairnet, serves mashed potatoes with an ice cream scoop, puts gravy on everything. She says,
bubble tape is not part of a well-balanced diet.
Bubble tape, it's 6 feet of bubble gum for you, not them.
Rock floors, rocks that come alive. Rock floors, fighting to survive. Living rocks with strength and might, rising up to crash and fight. Rock floors, powerful living rocks.
You control their appearance, but no force in the universe can contain the power and the fury of rock lords.
Shaking, quaking, crashing, breaking. Rock lords, powerful living rocks.
Each sold separately, new from Tonka.
Alrighty. Now, we were talking about freaks a little bit in our break. Now, we were talking about Schlitzie and how that was really his only movie role.
Yeah.
But there are a couple from the movie. There are a couple of freaks from the movie that went on to be in other stuff, like Angelo Rosito, one of the little people. He was in one of the Mad Max movies.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So. And I think Johnny Eck was in some other stuff. Amazing Half Boy.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't remember. He was in a Tarzan movie.
Okay.
He played the third. But yeah, that movie. A lot of those people, like, I knew who they were just because I've always been fascinated by freak shows. Like, I've always liked circus freak shows.
Yeah.
Like, I've always looked into them, so I already knew who a lot of these people were just from, like, History Channel documentaries and stuff like that. So when you watch the movie, you're like, oh, hey, I remember that person.
Yeah. I'm a big Coney Island fanatic, you know, especially living here in New York City. Coney Island is my favorite place in the city, and there's a lot of, you know, of course, like, freak show history there and stuff like that. That's very cool.
And they still have the Coney Island Freak Show too, right?
The Freak Show is still there and operating, you know. It's different than it was back in the day. But
of course.
Yeah.
It's awesome that you still do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, like, you know, in the time period we're talking about, like, you know, the 30s and stuff, they had the big steeplechase pavilion that had rides and attractions and stuff. And one of the places they had was Lilliputian, which was they had an entire functioning town for little people, which is like extremely, not cool
not PC
today.
at all, but
Yeah, not cool by today's standards, but like
it's still something I'd like to see.
They like, it was like a functioning like little miniature town that like and it also had like the biggest collection. I mean, I say collection because that's the term. I don't like to refer to collections of people, but like that's what they would refer to as like collections of like performing little people that were like, was in this town. And so just extremely weird. It was sort of like the epicenter of that kind of stuff. One of my favorite stories about Coney Island, if we have time, is this is a more positive story, is there was a doctor, I don't remember the exact time period, but I think it was around this time, like 30s and 40s, who was trying to do research on how to incubate premature babies and like save them. Because at the time, they would just die. If your baby was born prematurely, like unless it got really lucky, it would die. And if you were poor, I mean, they would literally just throw them in the trash, like premature babies. Like they would just throw them out. And he was trying to get funding to learn how to bring them to health, and no one would give him funding. And so he set up shop at Coney Island and charged people a quarter to come in and look at the premature babies because, they were like freaks, like little like, so he would set them up in these incubators and you could pay and come look at them all. And that funded all of his research. And he ended up saving thousands of lives, especially from a lot of children of like poor women, and women in poverty, because he would rescue their kids when they were about to be thrown out and be like, hey, I'm going to take them here and try to save them. Save thousands of babies. A lot of his research is like still used today. And there was, I think another part of it is there was a big fire, like the big Coney Island fire. And he managed to like save all of them, and like none of them died in like this big blaze that burned down like 2 blocks of Coney Island. But
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
Like I read something about it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can, in that time frame especially, I can see like premature baby, you got a baby that's this big.
Yeah.
That's abnormal.
And and it's like, I feel like a lot of attractions at the time were fakes, where like you would go, you would pay money, and then it would be, a rubber something and be like, this is the corpse of a half alligator man. And you'd be like, I don't know about that.
But then you see these little teeny breathing humans.
Yeah, it's a real life living thing, and so probably was a hot attraction.
Yeah,
for sure. These people paying money for that. 100%. But yeah, Coney Island, that's always been a place I wanted to go just because of Nathan's hot dog stand.
Oh yeah.
I need to get the OG. I travel for food. That's what I do. I am a foodie 100%. When I travel, I look for food.
Yeah.
Nathan's has always been on bucket list item.
But you got to be careful when you go, because there's 2 Nathans, in Coney Island. There's one on the boardwalk, and that's not the original one.
Right.
You got to go like a couple blocks away, and then there's the big original where they have the hot dog eating contest and everything.
Yeah, I don't want to go there for that. I just want a hot dog.
Yeah.
I can't do that anymore. But maybe like 10, 15 years ago, I probably could have entered that contest and give Kobayashi a run for his money, but
not
I went there a lot as a kid, but I haven't been there since. So
yeah,
in a couple years.
always wanted to ride the Cyclone.
Well, actually, I mean, the Cyclone is amazing. It's one of my favorite coasters. It's I'm always shocked by how long it is because it's so compact.
Right.
And you think like, oh, this is going to be like, a 20-second ride or something, and you get on it and it just keeps going. It's amazing.
I love it.
We actually just put out a music video though called for our song Juno, and we filmed the whole thing at Coney Island in a day. And there's actually a sequence in the like solo section. We thought it would be funny if usually in like the solo section of a song, that's when things get the craziest, because people are rocking out or whatever. And for us, we did an extended shot of me dissociating at Nathan's while eating a hot dog. So it's just me. I'm in sort of a janitor's outfit because that's like the story of the video, and I'm just kind of staring into space and eating an entire hot dog at Nathan's.
That's awesome.
We definitely had some people asking us what we were doing, as we filmed it.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I love doing stuff like that. like I was just the other day, I did a couple of little bits for our Halloween special, and I had to go into town here and walk up a couple sidewalks and do some talking on my phone. Just me and my phone. People walking by, it's only 8 o'clock at night, so there's plenty of foot traffic. And people are just staring at me. I'm like, I'm doing a job. Leave me alone. There's just a guy in his phone. Leave him be. Like, this is my town too. Okay. But yeah, I don't know, Coney Island, it's like basically a giant amusement park, but you can just go there.
Yep.
And it's something I've always wanted to experience. I've just never really been given the chance.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, you've got the amusement parks there. There's a couple sort of separate ones. You have the New York Aquarium is there, which is very cool. The Coney Island Amphitheater just went up as well, which is a concert stage. I actually saw the Dresden Dolls there a couple years ago. They did a reunion thing at the Coney Island Amphitheater, and it's so great because it's open air, so you can smell the beach and everything while you're watching the show, and it's
like
so
Red
nice.
Rock.
Yeah.
Like Red Rock is open air. You can just smell the desert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're getting blasted in the face by Slayer or something.
Yeah. Coney Island Amphitheater is
love open air. I love open air venues. You just feel everything better, I feel. I think. You get the outside environment to mix with the sound that's coming at you that you pay to see.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just something about it.
It's nice to be able to see a show where you're not just constantly bombarded by sweat and beer and BO, or like
it all just gets trapped in that.
Yeah. Concert goers really need to get aired out, and I, myself among them, I'll get sweaty in the pit, sometimes too, and you just kind of gotta get an outlet for that smell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know exactly what you mean. Because even at Warped Tour, you feel that.
Oh yeah.
Even though
that is open air, but not enough.
It is open air, but when you get 30,000 people in black T-shirts crammed in front of one stage, that air is just going to permeate. You stay there.
The worst I ever did, I went to Bonnaroo one year, and Rise Against was playing in the middle of the afternoon. And it's 106 degrees.
Yeah.
And everyone's moshing, but everyone's stripped down because it's too hot, and it's just soaked with sweat. But of course, they start playing Prayer of the Refugee, and I have to get in the pit. And no matter how gross it is, but it was the gentlest pit I've ever been in, not because people were going gentle, it's just because when you would hit someone, you would slide off of them. There was no friction. Everyone was so coated that you would just, it was like a slip and slide made of bodies, that you were just kind of going through. So you didn't feel the impact at all. You would just bounce off of them into another person, and it was just sweat splashing everywhere. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Oh man, that's gross. But yeah, as soon as you said Bonnaroo, I knew exactly where that was going.
Oh, yeah.
I know Tennessee in the summertime is not comfortable.
Yeah,
it's not comfortable at all.
It is not at all.
The humidity of the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Just cut it with a knife. That's the East Coast in general.
Yeah.
But in the summertime in the South, fuck you.
And I was so stupid because they had this thing, and they probably still do it, where you could get in for free if you volunteered to work the festival, right?
Yeah.
And so me and my friend were like, oh, we're going to work the 3 days before, and then we'll get in for free.
Yeah.
But it's literally 12-hour shifts in the 110-degree sun, outdoors, like cleaning tents or setting up tents and like doing all this stuff. It's so hot and miserable. And I realized, I didn't do the math until I was there, and I was like, shit, I could have just worked like 3 full shifts at my job and it would have paid the ticket price. It's like, I didn't need to do this. I'm gainfully employed. I don't know why I did this. And so it was just this miserable 3 days. And so you have those 3 days before the festival. So you've already accumulated 3 days of sweat and stink and exhaustion before the thing even starts.
And no chance for washing your clothes or take a shower.
No. I mean, there's a shower there, but
it's not worth it.
Not enough. Not enough.
You need like a hotel room at least.
Yeah. It was awful.
I can't do camp out festivals like that.
No, I it was my only one, and I had a great time, and I'll never do it again.
Sure. Yeah. That's like a once in a lifetime thing, literally. Yeah. It's so fucking nasty. That if you ever do it again, you couldn't live with yourself.
And you know what? I got to see Guar at 3 a.m. And so it was all worth it.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, and they're a refreshing concert too.
Yeah.
Like they're like, if you want to cool down, go see Guar.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get soaked in blood and piss and cum,
and it's
you're
constant
feel great.
too. So it's not like it's like riding one of those river rapid rides. That is part, you're just constantly getting drenched and shit.
There's like
really having to worry
the
about
only breaks you get are like, well, no, not even in song. That's when all the blood starts.
In
like,
between.
You don't get any breaks during your Guar show. It's like one right after another.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rapid
Last
fire.
time I saw them was before Corey Smoot passed away.
Yeah.
And so I still had Odorous, I still had Gladys.
Yeah.
And it was right after Barack Obama became the president.
Oh wow.
And one of the things they did was Odorous and Bone Snapper versus Barack and Hillary.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. It was just, I was 4 rows deep, and I was just drenched in all kinds of bodily fluid. It was amazing. And then, of course, the Cuttlefish of Cthulhu made an appearance.
Yeah.
You gotta get blasted in the face by him.
probably around the same time. I feel like this was, I probably saw them summer of 2010.
This is mid 2009.
Honestly, yeah, so pretty close.
Yeah. Saw him at the long forgotten Crocodile Rock in Allentown.
Yeah. Oh. They came there so many times.
That was a good venue.
So many times.
Oh, they came.
And
to
the first time I saw them was there at the Croc Rock.
Wow.
Yeah, the first time I saw them was at a place called the Crowbar State College, which was my home away from home from 10th grade to 12th grade. Because it closed right before I graduated high school, and I cried.
Oh.
I saw so many great bands there.
Yeah.
The first time I saw the Misfits, the first time I saw Guar, first time I saw Hatebreed, a whole bunch of, so many great bands. You were able to hang out with them. That's what was special about that place, because the merch table was in the lobby, and the bands just went straight to their merch table when they got done.
Yeah.
And, like I think there was one band there that really didn't hang out with anybody after they got done, and that was Voodoo Glow Skulls, which surprised me.
Yeah.
But like Eddie, their guitar player, was cool.
Yeah.
Sure. He stopped and he was like, "Yeah, I'll take a picture with you."
Yeah.
I was a 17-year-old kid. I didn't expect much.
Yeah.
but that place, like, it was just so special. Like, there's a 700 capacity venue, but we always managed to squeeze in at least double that, and just had a great time.
Yeah.
Like, getting sweaty and miserable. It's like one of those venues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Guar at that place was holy shit. Because the stage, 15 foot at most.
Right.
Yeah.
So you squeeze all them guys in their costumes up there.
Yeah, each of them is like 4 feet wide with their
And then you got security guards in front of them catching crowd surfers and shit.
Yeah.
It's just a calamity of the time. It was so much fun. So much fun. Such a great venue. I miss it so much.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Yep. Long forgotten. 15 years gone. But yeah, the Crocodile Rock was another one, but it was a little bit bigger than that.
Yeah.
And you could get pizza after the show.
Yep.
That was the best part.
Yep.
You get a bitchin' slice of pizza after the show.
My hometown venue, I think, also actually recently just closed. I think I saw it on social media because I'm not around there anymore. But out in Lansing, Michigan, there really weren't too many venues for bands to come through. But we had a place called Max Bar, just basically a dive bar. You know, and that's all we had was like a little dive bar in the middle of downtown. I saw Mustard Plug there.
Oh man.
Who else did I see there? I saw We Are the Fury there. Basically, but it was one of those venues that also our bands could play, like the local bands could play.
Crowbar was the same way.
Yeah, so when I was in high school, I had a ska band in high school. That was my first band that I led. I was in a punk band before that, but we were picking it up. We held an event called Skalloween there. We did a Skalloween show. We got ska bands from all over Michigan to come in and play. That was like the highlight of my senior year of high school.
That sounds like a good
and then actually we went, my current band, The Traveling Show, we went back there in, what was this, probably 2017, I want to say. We did a Midwest tour and we actually got to play there again. And that was really nice to kind of go back and
I bet that felt
play. It felt really good. And to see some of my old, hometown friends came out to see us and stuff. Yeah. And now to hear that it closed last year, I think because of COVID and stuff,
so many venues.
I'm really glad that we got to play there one last time,
For sure. Yeah, that was my only bummer about the Crowbar is that I didn't get to play there before it shut down.
Yeah.
Like it was like that. Like local bands could play there usually through the week, but or on Memorial Day and Labor Day, they would do like a big metal fest, like local. It was all local metal bands, and it was always a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was one of those places local bands could play, and local bands. First time I saw the Misfits, 2 local bands opened up for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and they were fucking amazing. A band called the Deuces and a band called the Marauders.
Nice.
The Marauders were like a Tiger Armory type, rockabilly type band. They were so much fun. They were better than the Misfits. Now, granted, that was 2005, so it wasn't the Misfits that you think they are.
Right. It was 2005 Misfits.
Yeah.
Yes. It was Jerry only.
Yeah.
Misfits with an asterisk.
I mean, we had Croc Rock for bigger bands, but most of our shows, you could see great bands at the VFW hall. That's where I saw UK.
Oh yeah.
I saw UK subs at a Firehouse banquet hall.
Dude, no shit.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But didn't Croc Rock have a basement for local bands?
Yeah, but
a little bit.
Yeah, but it wasn't as fun. It really wasn't.
Right. Well, yeah, no, the upstairs had such a different environment.
Yeah, but I mean just show wise, if you're going to see a big band, you know what you're getting into. But I would have much preferred small VFW halls and everything compared to the basement of the Croc Rock. In all honesty, for local bands, it was so much fun.
Yeah. For local bands, I would prefer to go see them in somebody's garage.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll go to a garage show any day of the fucking week.
Yeah.
I love those.
Those are the best.
I used to book garage shows. When I was booking shows in high school, that's where we had venues.
Garage shows, backyard shows. Yeah.
Oh, so much fun.
Yeah. I miss those days.
Yeah.
You get your buddy's dad out there grilling burgers. It's awesome.
And I do feel we actually played, so on that Midwest tour, we played a house show in a suburb of Pittsburgh somewhere. And it was great, I feel like those are where you really build a fan base, because the people there really care, the people that are there, they're gonna, it's such a more intimate setting that people are, you sort of form a bond with the audience that you don't get at a venue where it's we're all here hanging out together. We're on the same level, there's no stage. And so it's you really make, as a touring band, I think house shows, backyard shows, garage shows is you can really build some fans for life that way.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we did there, because there was a hardcore band called Heartfelt Discord from New Jersey, and they came out and played in our garage a lot. And they would always bring people, and then So, but those people would intermingle with our crew, and we just became really good friends.
Yeah.
And we would help each other out with shows and everything. Like if we had bands, we'd be like, "Hey, man, we got a spot for this weekend. We need a show. You got anything out there? We'll get you a show out here the next weekend or whatever."
Yeah.
Those are the days that I miss in the music scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the camaraderie.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what's missing today, because everything's digital now.
Yeah.
Like it's still there, like a little bit. It's still there, but no.
You got to seek it out.
In high school.
I got lucky in New York because New York has such a thriving open mic scene, and I really found a really great community of like-minded musicians and artists and stuff at the Sidewalk Cafe here in New York. And just a really special spot, but of course that closed down too, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So those little pockets still exist, but you sort of have to just kind of stumble upon them. They're not as readily available.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I went to a little local show here a couple months ago, and it just took me back. Like I felt like I was in high school again. I was like, oh, there was like 20 people there, but I didn't care because the band was great.
Yeah.
And people were into it, and it just felt like one of those garage shows that I used to go to, but it was in the basement of a church.
Yep. Yeah, church basements are big rooms.
This is cool. I love this. I love this.
I don't know why in the world they let us trash their little hall for one night in church basement.
God,
I will never
destroyed so many churches back.
Yeah.
We destroyed so many church community centers back in the day.
Those are the ideal venue. Look, we've played shows in New York City for 10 people, and they always feel terrible because you're at a bar, you're at like a place of business where they're like, oh, how many people did you bring? How many tickets did you sell? Like there's pressure on you. And it's also like a type of venue where you feel like, well, if this room's empty, it feels like shit.
Right.
But if you're playing a church basement, a gymnasium, a garage or whatever, and there's like 10 people there, it feels like the biggest show in the world. It's like, this is all I need, it feels, it's fun, it's massive. Like if I played right now, if my band could play a church basement show for 17 high school, college kids, I would be ecstatic.
Yeah.
And I would so much rather do that than to play for 10 people at a bar.
Who aren't even paying attention.
Who aren't paying attention or are, stepping outside, during your set and not really caring. It's just such a different vibe,
it really is. Yeah, one band I was in, we played this Elks Club, and it was during skate and surf weekend. And so the crowd was already gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like the bands we were playing with, they can draw people. Like that wasn't going to be an issue. But then I was like, oh shit, that's the same weekend as skate and surf. And they were like, oh yeah. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it, we're gonna have fun anyway. There was like 15 people there, and we had a crowd surf. It was the first crowd surfer. It was the first pit. I was so fucking happy. I was like, you know what? This was the best show ever. I was like, I don't care. I was like, we've had so much fun. Played everything we wanted to. We fucked up everything, but we had fun doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Yep. That energy was there, and that's what we were missing here at home.
Yeah.
But when we got back home, somehow we were able to bring that energy back with us, and people were starting to finally pay attention to us when we would play.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't playing bars or anything like that, but we just weren't one of the more popular bands in the area. And there was a lot of bands.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you run into the same thing here in New York.
There's a lot of bands.
Yeah.
Which is why it helps to have the theatrical edge. It's like, no one else is doing what we're doing.
Helps you stand out.
Yeah.
Which is the key. You want to stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we planned on talking about movies, and we didn't even talk about venues.
I'll talk movies too.
Yeah, absolutely. Since we're on that subject now, just coming off of Halloween, what are some of your favorite horror movies?
Well, horror is that's my passion. Horror is I mean, I've talked a little bit about our concept album and stuff. It is a horror story. It is a, the album, when you buy it, it comes as a novel, like a full 260-page novel that I wrote, and it's a pulp horror paperback. It's like in the style of, old school pulp horror, and there's a lot of blood and guts and gore and magic and, demons and that kind of stuff. So I also write a monthly horror comic, but I'll talk about all that stuff in the plugs and stuff at the end. But suffice to say, like, Halloween is my time of year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The one that I watched on Halloween this year was Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. I made it my goal this year to watch all of that. Hey, there we go, right there. I made it my goal this year to watch all the Halloween movies. And I didn't watch the Rob Zombie ones. I missed out on the Rob Zombie ones. I'm going to catch them soon. But I did watch all the rest of them. I have, my favorites. But Halloween 3 it's off the wall. It's just such a fun watch.
It is.
It's got some great kills, some real good gore in it.
Yeah.
It's well made. It's just that the story it's telling is bonkers, just off the wall, ridiculous. But that's kind of the style I go for. Like, my other favorites are going to be like Creepshow, is a big favorite. Let's see, what else? What would I rank? I mean, I'm a big Tales from the Crypt fan as well. Yeah. So, Tales from the Crypt and Creepshow are sort of like in a lump together in my mind.
Yeah.
What else? It's hard for me to find a horror movie I don't like. Not hard. For me, the one cardinal sin a horror movie can commit is being boring.
Yeah.
As long as you're not boring, I'm on board. Like, as long as there's something for me to sort of react to, I'm pretty happy. I just saw Carnival of Souls for the first time this year too, actually.
Really?
Which I love.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh,
now that
amazing. I love that one.
It's so good, and that I did get the 4K Blu-ray of.
I got the Criterion.
That's exactly, they got that on Criterion.
Yeah.
This
hell
is
yeah,
one of my favorite.
There we go. Yeah, I rewatched the first Evil Dead this year. Here's a question for you guys. What do you think of? I think it was 2015 or 2013. They did the remake. What did you think of the
Evil
remake
Dead?
they did? Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think that's Fede Alvarez. I think the guy who directed Don't Breathe did it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's no replacement for the original, of course, but I think if you're gonna remake a movie like that, I thought it was a lot of fun.
It was, I thought.
Yeah, because it was something different from. They're remaking something, but they made it their own too, and that's a big problem with the remakes. Like, if you're going shot for shot, or if you're going with the same idea, I don't think it's gonna work as well. You got to be creative.
That's how I felt about Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Yeah, you have to be creative. If you're gonna take someone else's story and retell it, you got to retell it your own way.
Mm-hmm. And it stripped down the original Evil Dead to sort of two things. One is the plot. It kind of keeps the same general plot.
Yeah.
But also that it needs to be over the top gory. Yeah. And it did that in its own way. But like it doesn't have all the cool stop motion pus and gross effects of the original, but there are buckets and buckets and buckets of blood in that movie, in a very cool way. I'm trying to think some other favorite. The Carnival of Souls, amazing. And I watched it because I had read that it was a big inspiration for David Lynch.
Yeah.
And it's really true. You can watch that movie and draw a straight line from some of the shots in that movie to like shots in David Lynch films. Like it is, the influence is extremely clear.
Yeah.
I really love that.
There are so many memories that like creep factors that stick out of my head from that movie. Like when he's coming out of the water, and then when they get on the bus, that's one of the most horrifying things I've ever seen in a horror movie.
Yeah, it's amazing how well a lot of movies from that time period I don't think are scary anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like they're because of how, you know, sort of dated they are and sort of what we respond to in horror as far as gore and stuff goes. Like a lot of those movies you can watch and it's like, well, this is fun for sort of the aesthetic, but it's not scary.
Yeah.
But Carnival of Souls still really gets under your skin in a very visceral way, which I was impressed by.
Yeah.
I've always been a Wes Craven fan myself.
Oh, sure.
But not, like I love Nightmare on Elm Street, but I was always more like Hills Have Eyes.
Sure.
I talk about it almost all the time on the show. People Under the Stairs, just because it fucked me up for life. I can't go into a dark basement ever.
Yeah.
33 fucking years old, and still can't go into a dark basement.
And that's what I love about classic horror. Like even 80s horror, it took the reality away. You know, there was reality's like bad enough, and that's where I feel like currently it's going with horror. It's a lot of reality-based stuff. And if it's not paranormal, it's gonna be like Fear Your Neighbor, but there's no creep factor anymore.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, I rewatched The Invisible Man, the new Invisible Man recently, and that one I think does a really great job. There's just so many shots where it's literally just a shot of an empty room that it just sits on, and it's silent, and it's so unnerving. You know, I think it does that really well. But yeah, Wes Craven, I mean, I was just thinking like, I know like Wes Craven has a lot of more underrated horror movies, but really is there any horror franchise more consistent than the Scream series?
No.
Like, there may be other franchises that reach higher heights, you could argue, but have like just as low, you know, lows. And the Scream series so far is remarkably consistent, you know?
They've kept up with each other. Like, haven't drifted away from their story at all. So.
And they probably benefit from fewer entries. You know, there have only been 4 so far, but like, I mean, I think 3 is the only one that has any noticeable dip in quality.
That was the worst one for sure.
Soundtrack was awesome.
And they have the TV show now too.
That's true. I haven't seen the TV show. And they've got the new one coming out next year.
There's a new movie.
They're making a new Scream, so we'll see if that sort of holds up.
David Arquette's coming back for that.
They're all coming back. Nev Campbell's on.
Shannon Doherty even.
I don't know.
I know she's been sick. Yeah, didn't she have cancer?
I'm not sure.
What I heard. I don't know. But that'd be awesome if they did get everybody back.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
I did also see New Nightmare for the first time this year.
New Nightmare.
I like New Nightmare.
I like New Nightmare.
I like it for what it is because like it's off base. You know what I mean? He's still there, but it's in a different form. It's almost like Season of the Witch. You know, it's just a different form of scary.
Maybe that's why
they bring the character back, but I don't know. It's more of like a mind trip.
I used to feel the same way about Season of the Witch that I feel about New Nightmare.
I think Season of the Witch was always high in my ranks, but I never really talked about it because everybody at one time hated it. Now everybody's like on board with it, so it's easier to talk about. But I love that movie.
Yeah.
My thing is, I watched Season of the Witch, ignoring the fact that it was the Halloween movie.
Yeah.
That's the key to that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Do that, you're good.
Yeah.
And that's what I got to do with New Nightmare, is just be like, okay, forget the first 6 movies and just watch New Nightmare. And I just haven't been able to bring myself to do it yet.
It's also, you know, you can tell it's him sort of transitioning into what he's going to do with Scream, you know, like clearly his interests are becoming a little bit more metatextual than they were, you know, in his 80s, 70s and 80s movies. So it's a weird sort of transitional film for him, I think.
Yeah, I think you put it that way for sure.
Yeah.
Because it was in that time period, like mid-90s, that came out. Yeah, I just got to give it another fair shot. I have it. I bought the 8-movie collection.
Yeah.
And when it's there at Walmart, then you got to get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need these movies. Freddy vs. Jason, I still love it.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen it.
Really?
I know, I need to.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's a decent movie. It really is. Like, there's a lot to turn off about it. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot to say. I'm not.
There is.
Like, it's really decent.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I straight love Freddy vs. Jason.
I've heard so many good things about it recently. It was on my list this year, and I just didn't get to it.
When it first came out, there was a lot of like bullshit about it. Like, man, that movie sucks. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, you say that about every movie you ever watch.
Yeah.
I always loved it.
Well, one thing I actually read about this year that, because I was doing my big Halloween rewatch, is that after Freddy vs. Jason came out, they were thinking about doing a Michael Myers and Pinhead film, where the plot was going to be Michael Myers as a child opens the lament configuration, and the spirit of Sam Hain comes flying out of hell and possesses him, and that's what causes him to kill his sister. And so then Pinhead and the Cenobites come after young Michael Myers to try to get the soul back and bring it back into hell. And actually, Clive Barker was going to write it.
Oh, wow.
And was on board for it. And the only reason it didn't get made is because they did an online poll asking if people would be interested in it. And like 55% of people said no. And so they're like, all right, we're not going to make the movie then.
It would have made so much more sense for the story, too, because, like, everybody cracks on the Rob Zombie movies because it's so detailed, but, like, if you watch Halloween, what made him just one day snap? You know what I mean? Like, he spent, like, 6 years just being this normal kid, and then on Halloween night, he's like, woo. So, the story never really got me on why he did what he did, other than him just being pure evil. I get that, but, like, what does it kick in that, like, all right, you're 7 now, go.
And that's now you're evil. And that's what I liked about the Rob Zombie movies.
Yeah,
because they explained why he decided to kill his sister and to kill his stepdad or whoever the fuck blamed.
Yeah, and it gave reasoning to it too. Like, it gave a good story.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't seen the Rob Zombie ones, but I am a fan of the Michael Myers as just force of nature, you know, which and so I'm going to go into the Rob Zombie with an open mind, but I'm someone who doesn't necessarily want to see more explanation. And I think that's actually, has everyone here seen Halloween Kills?
Yep.
I feel like maybe I shouldn't, it's not really a spoiler, but I like the way that they actually work in that movie to actually disconnect even more Michael from, because, you know, because the new Halloween movies disregard the second one, right? Which is where you find out Laurie and Michael are brother and sister, right? And so this one does even more to be like, this has nothing to do with Laurie. Like, Laurie is not connected to him in any way. He's just fucking killing people. That's it. He's just evil. He's just unstoppable. And I sort of liked that about this one, that it actually goes out of its way to be like, no, there's no connection. There is no rhyme or reason. He's not looking for anything. He's just trying to kill people.
The thing I liked about these last two Halloween movies is how they left the mask off a lot of the time. You didn't see him with his mask on a lot.
Like, you don't see his face either.
You do briefly, but but you know, it's just like, it's enough to be like, oh, okay, that's what we're dealing with here. Well, that's what's under that.
And at least the mask finally looks scary again. Because I will say, watching 4, 5, and 6, Halloween 4, 5, and 6.
It was like he was a clean-cut human being. Just
the mask looks goofy. It's funny.
Yeah,
he looks silly in the mask in those ones.
Yeah,
especially in 5. I think 5 is the worst. The mask
5 is totally the worst.
Yeah,
but I'm glad they kind of strayed away from that, anyways, because it was getting too in depth with like too many people. You know what I mean? He had nieces and everything else, and
Yeah.
I don't know. But I like the way they disconnected and we could just follow the original story all the way to the end now, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I think
I do really like...
On board.
There's one more Halloween Ends. I'm a big H2O fan too, though. I think H2O is great.
Yeah, H2O was good. Not a big
really
fan
good.
of Resurrection, but
Resurrection is what we got instead of Michael versus Pinhead, and I'm always going to be mad about that.
Yeah.
And also,
Resurrection is when you order Halloween off Wish.
Exactly. Although, I'm never going to say no to Busta Rhymes roundhouse kicking Michael. I think that's fun. It's not what I want from a Halloween movie.
Yeah.
Also, the original title of that movie was Halloween: MichaelMyers.com, which I think is just. Yeah. I feel like they should have. If you're gonna make a movie that bad, you might as well stick with a title.
Yeah, just go for it all.
Yeah.
MichaelMyers.com.
MichaelMyers.com.
Yeah. God, that's cringeworthy.
And we could have gotten Clive Barker's Michael Myers versus Pinhead.
Yeah. And that's a masterpiece waiting to happen.
Yeah. I'll write that comic. If there's any comic publishers listening to that out here, get in touch with me. I will write the Michael Myers versus Pinhead comic.
Oh man, yeah, take my money. like I need to give any more of it away. All right, why don't we take another quick break?
Yep.
Cool.
We'll come back. We'll touch into more on the music there and wrap her up.
Awesome.
Yep.
Journey to the all-new world of adventure with the Star Wars droids. The race is on. R2-D2 and C-3PO get Val Jobin ready, set, and gone. Val's a sure winner, but villain Size and T-Throne want to stop him. From the side gunner Teague attacks. Val races for his life, but here comes George Dusat in his A-Wing. He fires, hits his mark, and sends Zeke sailing. Who says good guys finish last? Share the adventure with these figures and vehicles. Batteries not included, each sold separately. New from Kenner's Star Wars Droids Collection.
Running swing here? I don't think so. Climb and slide here? I don't think so. Then where?
I'm going DZ at Discovery Zone, where I can cut loose and be on my own.
DZ is made just for me, the place where I can really cut loose. It's all here.
Jump and tumble here? I don't think so.
I'm going DZ, where kids wanna be.
All right, we're back.
We are back.
To the ending portion of our little talk here, man. This has been a great time. We appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me. This has been a lot of fun.
It's a hell of a story you got behind your band, and like just the story that the songs are telling. Like it's a horror story. There's a book.
There is a book.
You wrote a book. Like damn.
Gotta hear for the viewers on YouTube.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. And for people just listening, that's the album cover as well. Right?
Yep, this is the album cover. It's also the cover of the book. It's a full novel. It's 245 pages plus lyrics in the back and credits and all that kind of stuff.
You can't find that anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing is like, I started because as like an independent band, it's like, how do you put out music these days? It's like CDs. There are people who still like CDs and will buy CDs, but not really enough to justify the cost of them. Like when we're playing, especially in New York, and it's like trying to sell CDs, like a lot of people won't buy them because they're not going to do anything with them. But at the same time, no one will buy just a download code because they can just stream it. Vinyl is really expensive to produce, and also there's such a backlog. Like it takes forever to get vinyl produced even right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And so my solution was, well, I'm telling a story anyway, and I am a writer, so I'm gonna write a book, because then if you buy the physical copy, it's something you can't get on streaming services. It's something cool, like a keepsake to have around, even if you don't read
physical
it. It's a physical thing that like you can keep on your bookshelf, maybe read someday, or read it right away if you're into it. And it gives you more content that's not available on Spotify.
And where can people find that?
This is available on our Bandcamp. So daltondeschain.bandcamp.com. Also, if you just buy the digital album, like just the music, it comes with a PDF of the book. And that's pay what you want. So if you want the book for free, you can get the book for free. You just go to our Bandcamp, download it, do pay what you want, pay $0. You'll get a PDF of the book, or you can throw a couple bucks our way. If you want the physical book, it's $10 plus shipping, and I'll send it to you.
That's not okay, people. You get an almost 250-page novel with lyrics for the album for $10.
And the album, and 12 songs.
And
it's an hour-long album. It's a hefty album too.
Yeah. You can't get that anywhere else.
Nope.
It's a steal. Holy shit. My girlfriend keeps telling me to charge more, but
that is an absolute steal. Sure, it's a digital copy of the album, but you're getting a full-ass book. A book like that would cost you $20 at Barnes & Noble.
That's right.
You're paying $10.
$10
from the author.
Or you can pay more. Of course, it's Bandcamp. Pay what you want.
Yeah, of course.
If you are an eccentric millionaire and you want to pay $1 million for this album, that would be great.
Dalton will not complain.
I will not complain.
Anything for the money. All right. Dalton Deschain, my man. We appreciate it so much. You're on Spotify. You're on Instagram. You're on Facebook.
Yeah, you can find us, Dalton Deschain and the Traveling Show. I'm pretty much the only Dalton Deschain out there, so if you search for us, you'll find us on Twitter and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. We got the book. I also read a monthly comic book that's on Patreon. It's called Monocle. It's sort of Tales from the Crypt meets Silicon Valley.
That's awesome.
And so you can sign up for that. It's $4 a month, and you get a comic book every month. And
it's got everything.
I got everything, and just this past Wednesday, October 27th, I was published in Mad Cave Studios' Grim. It's sort of a Grim fairy tale update. It's called Grim Tales from the Cave, and I have a comic book story in here based on the Grim fairy tale, The Girl Without Hands. And so
that's awesome.
You can pick this up in comic shops everywhere, and also on Mad Cave Studios' website.
Mad Cave Studios. There you go, people. Dude's got everything going on. That's
all kinds of projects. Staying busy all the time.
You got a fucking book. You got a new album just came out a couple weeks ago. And it's great. You got comics. My God. You just jack of all trades, my man.
Stayed busy this year. Stayed very busy.
Only thing you're
ready to relax.
Only thing you're missing is a movie.
Yeah, that's got to come. We got the music video, but if anyone wants to make a movie with us, we can do that too.
We'll get a Kickstarter going, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because I'm good. Yeah, I know I'm going to be buying that book. That's a book I definitely read that shit. And I'm not a reader, so there you go.
Well, if you like the Coheed and Cambria novel, The Black Rainbow, then this will probably be up your alley.
I'll take it.
More horror than sci-fi, though.
I like that too. I like sci-fi, but to a point.
Yeah.
Yeah. But do you have any shows or anything coming up?
Unfortunately, no. We're sort of rebuilding the band post-COVID. Our bass player, Daisy, unfortunately moved to Toronto, and our drummer had to move on to some other things. So I'm still sort of rebuilding our live show. But every Christmas, we have historically put on a show we call the Honda Days Spectacular. And that should be returning this year as a live stream on Twitch. So stay tuned to our socials. The Honda Days Spectacular will be happening sometime in mid-December, full of lots of that Honda cheer that we all love around the holidays.
That's amazing. Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
All right. So that's Dalton Deschain and the Traveling Show. A great band. You got a great album, Demons and Dogmen. Coincides with the book. $10, people.
$10.
$10 fucking dollars.
$10.
Come on.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. This has been a blast.
Dude, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Any chance to talk horror movies and basement shows? You know?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure we'll get you on again sometime down the road, man.
Yeah, anytime.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again, man. And dude, keep it up, whatever you're doing. I don't know what it is. But I don't know what you're taking, but keep taking it.
Yeah, thank you.
You're doing great stuff, man. I can't wait to see those. I'm definitely going to be signing up for that Patreon.
Thank you.
Like, yeah, that's. Come on. Come on. You're paying $14, and this guy's writing all kinds of shit for you.
That's right. All for you. All for you.
All amazing. All right. Well, Krager, this was another fun one, buddy.
Yeah, it was.
My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy. Wherever I go, he goes. My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy and me. Kid sister, kid sister, kid sister. Wherever I go, you're gonna go. Kid sister, kid sister, kid sister, kid sister and me.
My Buddy and Kid Sister. Each sold separately from Play School.
Welcome to my freaky Play-Doh party. Ooh.
It's the Play-Doh Count Creepyhead and Friends playset.
Awesome! To do that, squish in the Play-Doh, pick a mask, twist it on, and ooh, now I'm a werewolf. 3D!
The Play-Doh Count Creepyhead and Friends playset comes with 4 masks and everything you see here. New from Kenner.